So, let's start. So this is, which one? 15th?
I don't know.
15th episode of ZORYA podcast. Today we have special guest. His name is Yurii, but he will present himself a bit later. As usual, there is Eugene and there is Yulia.
Yes, and it's our innovation podcast called ZORYA.
Yes. So we have actually a special topic today, but before I won't just introduce why this special topic. For example, yesterday in the evening I watched one of the most favorite movies called The Matrix, which give us everything about modern world. Artificial intelligence,
A look into the future.
Exactly, even metaverse. So Meta, the company, it's from the Matrix. Metacortex.
Mm-hmm.
And if you know, much of the theme of Matrix, it's about calling someone. They always calling, and always discussing something. Actually, that was a very big topic in 2000. Actually, from the 50s till now. Actually, it's very natural actually for us to speak to the person and so on, and interacting with the system with the voice as well. So this is a very natural. So our topic today is talking about voice AI, and we have a very special guest today, Yurii, who is an expert in this. And the reason why we are recording in English today, because again I want to maybe to broaden the audience. So Yurii is heard also in English-speaking community as well, because I think he's doing fantastic job, and he will explain himself.
Yeah, thank you for the introduction. Thank you. My name is Iurii Platonenko. I'm currently based in Brussels, in Belgium, but I spend a lot of time in the Middle East and, of course, born and grown in Ukraine. For the last 20 years, I work in telecom industry. So it's all about voice communication and telephony. And as you said, we trust voice and we trust people who call us a lot. So that's why this topic is close to my heart, because I spent a lot of time with it. And for the last 5-10 years, it was not that trendy.
Mm-hmm.
But now with AI, I think it's much attention and a lot of money go into this domain. So it's become again fun, exciting, and entertaining to work with voice. And myself, I'm engineer. I work a lot on between software development and telecom. But now trying to build myself and try really to build new systems from scratch, feeling excitement of how things can be done by one-person company. So yeah, really excited to be here today and talk to you guys.
And it's fun to build something yourself rather than debugging somebody else's stuff. Okay. So I see you're man in black today.
Yes, he's very official today, actually.
Yes,
the suit, I saw him. Wow, it's not a wedding ceremony, but...
In a black studio.
Yeah.
Okay.
So actually, why did you decide to work in with this? What was your motivation actually? Actually, AI, it's quite new in general. But as I remember from your introduction to me, so you started from the CTI, more systems, more for call centers and mobile operators and so on. So what was your motivation coming to the field, for example?
Yeah, I mean, let's start from telecom. So why I came to telecom, it was early 2000s, and telecom was growing in Ukraine, and we expanded from 1% coverage to 100% coverage for mobile subscriptions. And that time it was so trendy and so cool to go to telecom, to work in companies like Kyivstar and similar. Yeah, so that's how I end up in telecom, actually telecom engineer by education, and then spend a lot of time in a big corporate. But now talking about voice in mobile networks or in unified communications, call centers. For last 10 years, we all used to pay for data. We don't care about voice. We pay for megabytes and gigabytes, and voice comes by default, and SMS even worse. But with voice AI, it becomes so natural to inbuild voice AI into all systems we have, because you receive SMS, you don't trust SMS. You receive email, you don't care, you delete it. You receive a LinkedIn message, you don't read it. But with every call, people tend to answer it, and even call back if they cannot answer. So for me, voice was so static for the last 10 years,
Mhm.
and it's time for, with AI, it's time for disruption, because everybody trusts voice, trust this channel of communication, but same time with AI, it can be so much disrupted and changed and leveraged in a good or bad way. So there's a lot of attention going on and a lot of investment going into platforms dealing with voice AI. So from my side, I think it's a good opportunity to move a bit further and to build, and to experiment myself, and to find some new space, some industries which are about to be disrupted by voice AI and like capabilities enabled by it. So I'm really excited and curious where it's going.
And how we can define voice AI? What's voice AI actually?
I don't think it's a single answer. Actually, when I was driving here, I tried to leverage like companies like YouTube, etc., to understand what people think about voice AI. And there is no single answer. But for me, it's voice. I think there are several factors that now go and enable this ecosystem. It's not only about translating voice to text and text to voice. The capabilities they're there for a long time. It's not about LLMs helping in the back and smart prompting, but also it's about tools that can be triggered in the middle of communication, simple way like Google Calendar or whatever. So all these factors and platforms that now built globally that reduce cost of entry. So any person leveraging platforms with voice AI, with different tools, can build something to disrupt any industry they work for. So for me, this kind of magnitude of factors, they play into voice AI, because voice AI is basically, okay, you talk to a computer, if you simplify it in a way. But in the back, barrier of entry to start working with these systems is so low these days, so low. Anybody can do it. Learn a couple of techniques, work in a couple of videos. You can start playing with voice-generated AI, text-to-speech, speech-to-text. And for me, that's kind of why we talk about it right now. It's not about single technology, but reducing barrier of entry all around the world for people to play with it.
Just imagining the 11 Labs, how much they disrupted the market with their, so many from text to voice and many other things. Actually, the API they created. So. Yes, Yulia.
I'm thinking right now that you mentioned 2010 as the time when it was all popular, and today, right, what we can do with it. But it all started like in 1950s, right, as something that is not that new, but we have a huge progress in the past. Well, I would say 5 years, 10 years, but in your opinion, when was the biggest breakthrough? When we got Alexa, or a few years ago when we... with NVIDIA and everything?
I think, again, it's about democratization of voice AI. And technology was there 50 years ago, available to high-tech corporate, maybe military, like experiment in more kind of research topic. Is the technology there? Yes. Who can work with it? Only research. What about 10 years ago, 15 years ago? Is it available? Yes. How much effort you need to do? Like incredible billions of dollars. Yes. That's why it's available only to companies like Google, Amazon, Apple. They can do these bots, which were barely useful with such huge investment. So everybody was doing this investment because in some 10, 15 years horizon, they saw a return on this investment. But now, with some platforms which are accessible to everybody, with investment affordable to a person in the street, you can build a voice bot that immediately bring you revenue or reduce cost or helpful in your life. You can use it in your daily life to automate some of your tasks. So for me, last 5 years is like when all these factors of the democratization of reducing access barriers come into play. And I mean, we should not forget LLMs and Gen AI, because it's really like making it fun and easy for a person, making it natural. Because for me, like working in voice, working in Europe, you for sure receive calls with accents, and you're not really happy to people work in the low-cost call centers calling to you. But now you can get a call from a person with a Manchester accent or
Yeah.
Icelandic
Yes,
accent.
Or your own accent, right?
yeah.
The accent of
or
your
talking to yourself,
area.
actually.
yeah. That's really interesting. And actually, talking about telecom, I know that in Germany there is I think it's a T-Mobile company who is now introducing the live translation. So if you are on a call and let's say I'm on a call and it's in French and it gets difficult for me, I can say a special code, or I type a code and activate the automatic translation. And indeed, then it will be maybe even with my own, maybe in my own language, maybe with my own accent even, right, in my case. English with Ukrainian accent.
Yes.
That's a possibility.
It's not English, it's Globish.
Yes.
I think you touched two very big topics. One topic is live translation, huge
Yes.
market, which is attacked by several companies. There are companies who produce small devices which do live translation. Apple is doing live translation in AirPods.
Like the earbuds.
Yeah, in some languages, not Ukraine yet, but they do translate 12 languages, I think, and it's some country-specific things, and maybe limited in Europe as well, because of GDPR and other regulation. And there are telecom operators who want to play in live translation place. So there is a huge market for sure for travelers and communication that is about to be disrupted. All those interpreters, unfortunately, may lose job in favor of digital technology. So that's one market. Another market I touch about is all about how make AI native on voice calls. All of us call all the time. And do you want AI to listen to you and to help? Of course, the operators want to help you and to get some money out of it.
Yes.
Or they want to protect you from deepfakes or some scams. They want to maybe trigger some tools on call. If you can, on a call, tell your AI assistant to set up a meeting without typing any commands or Google to calendar. It's fun. But how much are we ready and how much are we ready to pay for this service to our operators? It's a big question mark.
Maybe how much you're ready to pay and how much you're ready to give the access even to your Google Calendar, right? Because if the agent will go and add an entry, it means they can read and write. They can read.
You know, when I opened my eyes widely, you know, to this type of technology, and when OpenAI released voice, and the voice was with Scarlett Johansson, and it was so sexy voice, actually, so interesting. I was actually talking to Scarlett Johansson, you know, so I get the feeling, you know, so this is a real kind of real person. Yes, it was a bit glitchy at the first when you know, I had paid version of OpenAI of ChatGPT, but still, you know, it's a bit sometimes, you know, glitching. Yes, but now, you know, after almost 2 years, I think, after the release, it's much better working. Not Scarlett Johansson, unfortunately, but that was, I know, to me, it's opening a moment. Because Siri, if you're talking about, again, this segment, Siri always been limited.
Yeah, it's more like you give a command.
Yeah,
you
like
task-oriented.
you like yes, exactly. You like a silent in Apple ecosystem. Actually, it's a Google Calendar, Google, but Apple Calendar, Apple Notes, Apple. You know, everything Apple.
It's called the customer lock-in.
Yeah, but currently, how many integration there are actually with ChatGPT and very popular Claude at the moment also. So what you think, Yuri, about this topic? So in general, how this?
Yeah, I think that I mean, with agents in general, voice is one of interfaces. Not so popular right now. Let's not exaggerate level people using voice. It's very limited in consumer domain. Of course, me coming from professional background, I'm excited about voice specifically, but in consumer domain, it's very limited. People are still using text a lot, and like all these, let's say, hands or tools available to your agents. It's the next level of complexity. People enabling these APIs, enabling access to systems. I treat agents as small babies, you know. First you give information and then it returns and then you trust a bit and then you give it more capabilities, more tools, more freedom. So growing like individual capabilities of these agents. And for me, it's natural, it's exciting to talk to it, like to call into it. And of course, I understand that in translation, some things can be lost. But also you can use, for example, voice memo and models like Whisper for speech to text. So it's very easy way to experiment how voice interacts. It's not about calling and two-way communication. It's one-way communication. So it's more comfortable using voice memos or voice notes to communicate to your agent if you want to experiment. Because speech of entry with voice, of course, is much, much faster than with text. Text and speech was much earlier than text. We first start talking as kids and as society many centuries ago, and then we start writing and reading. So for us, it's much more natural. So I think that's why I'm kind of excited. And we are going there slowly. As industry and the society, it's question of trust and speed.
So the B2B, from a perspective, it's more relevant actually talking about this theme. So, for example, there is now Salesforce released their contact center. Actually, I'm working with Salesforce, and I know much of the development of Agentforce. It's their AI and so on. And now they want to automate as much as possible, basically, the call centers and the case management, all the routing of the cases and so on, how the escalation. Actually, it's separate field, but it's very relevant, actually. It's like what I felt recently, the technology is ready. Talking to you, yes, obviously glitches will happen, but also there is at certain stage, there is a human as well to help. So what you think on this topic in general? So I don't know, you know about this topic, Yulia, you read anything on that?
Yeah, I was reading about Salesforce introducing their AI call centers, so to say. I think that's super convenient if you work with marketing or sales, you need to contact clients. Then they bring everything in one platform. So you have information about the client, you have the calendar, you can arrange, some meetings with the representatives. And of course, if there can be an agent, the AI agent that makes a call or receives a call from the client, and if it's something simple and you just need to schedule a meeting with an account manager, let's say, then it's great in terms of time you can save. And you mentioned the accents before, right? If in the past somebody would call to a call center or the call center calls to you and you clearly hear that it's a very different accent, it might create a little bit of the friction, right? And here, so that in the end, that matters. And then because Salesforce is quite smart because they just bring everything together and it's another customer lock-in, right? Because why would you go to any other solutions if you have something that is fully integrated?
Yeah, exactly. But the cost, for me, it's a question of the cost of the system. Actually.
I guess depending on how big you are as a company, the cost can be fine for you or not.
I mean, we see these things happening in a time of technical shift. And obviously, there were many call centers pre-integrated and deeply integrated with Salesforce before. Legacy solutions, they were there for many vendors. But this technology shift opened an opportunity for Salesforce to come with something new. Before, it was a question mark to develop quite legacy, stable product, while develop call centers if there are 10 vendors in the market, cloud-based, on-prem. There are very famous solutions in this market. But now, with AI and agentic AI, all existing call center vendors need to evolve, need to do investments, kind of cannibalize on own product. And same time, it creates an opportunity for new entrants, like a Salesforce, to bring to the market something brand new, something very different, without all this baggage and legacy and need to replicate technology. So I think it's an excellent entry point. And it creates, as you say, friction or like this questioning in the market, where our call centers are going. Because definitely, number of seats will go down, physical seats in call center. What will be the vendor for modernization? Let's see. So it will be more AI and digitally driven rather than more seats and people driven. My background is a lot about unified communication, more kinds of smaller systems, and every unified communication system, any business wants to add agent to their system. I do some research, and my basic way to do research is you go to Upwork and you see what people are asking. And people are asking to build thousands of agents and voice agents in every possible industry, in every possible domain, and every continent. People just want these agents, and mostly these agents now is a last resort. So, for example, everybody is busy, off work hours. So you can either I lose a lead, lose a customer, or I give it to my AI agent to trying to survive and to help, to book this meeting or to keep this lead. But you understand, it's the beginning. Eventually, trust will grow, prompt quality will grow, and eventually these agents will take over real jobs and be first agent than a person.
And I think we will, as consumers, as people, we will also be more and more used to talking to an agent to schedule something, for example, right? Or maybe to resolve a quick question. Same with the banking systems and some AI, like in KBC, you have, Kate? For some simple questions, why would you contact anybody else? You can just post a question there and get your answer.
What I'm feeling, so we are in business world, we're talking about customer experience much, actually, how to create best customer experience. So some companies are so addicted to this, they over-invest in, for example, I know a company for Lego, for example, a friend of mine, he had a huge set, they could be a very complex one, but for adults, not for even for kids, but for adults. And he just, he lost few pieces of it. But that was for him so important, actually for him it's like a professional business because he want to resell it, actually. He's a, he's collector of it, and he missed some piece, and he called Lego, and what you think? For free, Lego sent him just few pieces, because it's very emotional. To him, it's very emotional, and so on.
Cool.
And what this reminded me, one case recently in Belgium. So me, a friend of mine, we were charging car. I think that was Sunday, very late, and we were on charging. So it's electric car, and we were charging it, and so on. And something happened. So we paid for this, but if you charge the car before electric ones, it's locked. So the mechanism how you the charger, it's locked. And there is only way, there is a hotline, there is email, something like this, but it's like 11 o'clock Sunday, there is no one basically. We were calling, we were chatting, I don't know, we were asking everybody, actually we need to go, actually we cannot stay, on Sunday in the middle of nowhere on the charging point. And imagine in this case we have agent, agent resolved in this case because I think it's typical, it's very typical situation, I think. So the agent can check, okay, it's paid, okay, everything is okay. So remotely it can, release actually the charger from plug from the car. Exactly. So there is no need to hire a specific person, to stay very late on Sunday actually to helping us.
Especially if you talk about the Western European support. Right, it's only during the working hours, but then you can extend it.
Or Indian one. Oh, my friend, can I help you?
Yeah, I mean, as the people coming from technology, we tend to use technology as a tool and then try to use it everywhere. Like, okay, this cool technology coming, voice AI or, I don't know, computer vision or something. Let's apply it everywhere. But we should move back and start from business problem. Of course, there is so many business cases. Like same example as you had, I had many times when I was losing these stupid parking tickets, and then you go to a barrier, and then you cannot enter, and then you start calling people, beeping, and they're not responding. It's a pain, and you feel very unpleasant. So business problem is obviously there with the workforce. And this tool that can like elevate or remove it from the society, because there are no people who are interested to be in these jobs, replying calls from charging station or from barrier in the parking, and it could be easily automated. There is, like with electric cars and self-driving, there is a time to build trust. There is a time to build technology. I think now we are still in the early experimenting phase. We are still in those builders who want, I want to build it for 1 hour today at night, and then you wake up, okay, it's 5 a.m., I'm still debugging something with Claude. It happens to all of us sometimes. But we are still in this, I believe, fun exploration phase. We will move forward. If you look into money, going into voice AI, into platforms like 11 Labs, Resemble AI, VAPI, Telnex, like all of these companies which are foundational for whole ecosystem. Money is going there. There's a big promise. Maybe it's not visible to audience, to public audience, because much more money going to data center build out with NVIDIA and public cloud. But there is a lot of money going there. Platforms will come, consolidation will come. So we will see it slowly going into our life. There is a big belief that it's happening. Money is flowing there. So yeah, just a matter of time when we go from these early experiments into scale production.
So adoption is coming. So in this specific technology,
of course. Okay. In Europe especially, we are protected by legislation, by government, in a good and a bad way. So of course we are like, for example, in some countries like Germany, you need to be informed that you're talking to voice AI before. Like you should be informed that call is recorded.
Which I think is good.
Good or bad. But we understand that this is good for people, but a bit slowing down commercial cases, slowing down adoption. So we will be a bit slower than US in this field, but it will come.
And I have statistics. Some organization, actually it's a US research organization adopting voice AI can automate about 60 to 80% of routine inquiries, run 24/7, supporting without premium staffing, and reduce operational cost by up to 40%. You can imagine 40% of actually the.
This makes me think about jobs a bit, right? So. Clearly, there will be some reorgs or layoffs, or they're actually already happening. And here we're focusing right now on call centers, I think. And I think it's already happening, and maybe about half of companies either did it or they're thinking about it at the moment.
They reduce the number of new agents also in this research. 55% of the companies, they reduce in just new hires as well. So they just stopped, including, by the way, the Salesforce. Salesforce is a huge organization. It's, again, it sells the platform, but even inside of this platform, even if you are a Salesforce engineer and so you have a problem with, you are supporting certain system for organization, there is a problem on Salesforce side, and you're trying to reach Salesforce support, and a huge number of tickets happening. They're trying to automate as much as possible. And Salesforce, there was some, I don't remember the exact numbers, but they reduced hiring actually as well in the contact centers. And so about contact center, I think they probably introducing it and testing it first on their own, and then on the broad audience. So the technology is ready. I believe so, but the cost of it. So to me, it's a good question.
I still think it's not all about, like, of course, people are losing jobs, at least in this area. I do think there are, though, new jobs created. For example, I don't know, if you need a prompt engineer, etc., a person who can work with AI agents.
Code cleaner, if you remember.
Well, there is that as well.
Let's not focus only on, like, let's say negative or cost reduction part or substitution of efficiency. It's a good term to use here. But let's focus on also things that we as people, as ordinary people, we can leverage technology for our good as well. So I think it's also like speech to text, text to speech can think about our life. How can we simplify? If all your calls in the back are transcribed, and then you get a nice summary end of day, or action points that you promised somebody, you promised to buy some. So let's not focus only about company reducing workforce or
but your own efficiency as well.
Yeah, so how our life can be better. I start thinking about AI first. How I can apply it myself to my life. That, again, experimenting a bit, and then look into how it help a business to become a business opportunity for a company. So. I think that there is a lot of good that could happen again, like with Claude. Maybe some tasks that never had enough, you never had enough time or bandwidth to do it, could be done with the help of AI and voice.
It actually makes me think on my personal example. Yesterday I missed a couple of calls, so I just have a missed call. But if I had an agent who replied and said, okay, Julia is busy right now, can you leave a message? I mean, people can still leave a message themselves, but not always they do it. And when somebody talks to you and proposes to do that and then gives you a short summary, that can be useful.
You can experiment. You can have a second line, and maybe you give this number in a business environment, and then this is a agent that reply to people. You can experiment how they react. Do they talk to the agent? Do they try to reach you through this agent, or they just drop? So it's a good experiment for us. It's also adoption for people. Will you talk to an agent if you get a business card with an agent phone number, or you will be a bit upset that you get this number, that you need to talk to it to get to a real person?
Yes.
And of course, eventually we can talk about agents talking to agents to set up a meeting and inventing own voice and own language. So this is also coming in a good and bad way, also burn a lot of energy and a lot of tokens when agents talking to agents. So it's also fun word to experiment about.
Oh, I have interesting also new topic for us to talk about open source. So we have a very emerging technology at the moment, OpenClaw. Actually, I never tested personally, I must say. I'm not expert in this, but do you have experience in this? Just before this recording, I watched NVIDIA's new, how we call GTC, so annual event with new innovation, always, as usual, opening my mouth like this. So what they're talking about, they always bring in not even new technology, but new terminology, actually. And so the NVIDIA announced the also support of OpenClaw. OpenClaw, it's basically a tool which allows you to create your agent on your basically personal computer. Basically, open source. It's like Linux. It's like Linux for agent on the computer. Yuri, do you know about this topic?
I have OpenClaw running for a couple of months. We also have a small, very niche community of OpenClaw in Belgium and Brussels. We kind of meet every month.
Okay.
So I think started in January. It was fun because there were two groups which wanted to run it, and they decided to start it on the same week in consecutive days. So you go on Wednesday, and then on Thursday you see same people in OpenClaw community. So first OpenClaw, first idea is, remember, maybe you read, let's deploy it in a laptop. Then it's completely exposed, no security. So that's why people move to Mac Mini. I run it Google VPS in GCP, where I started. And again, for me, it was a research topic from two perspectives. One, OpenClaw and how it can become my private agent. Idea why it's so popular now, because it's democratizing agentic AI for people. So moving from a corporate world to a private. And then, again, there was a company who enabled calling into OpenClaw. So there's some code, some specifics you need to run to call to OpenClaw, and they were giving 10 minutes, talk to OpenClaw, so you give commands through calling to OpenClaw. So that was a kind of interesting experiment for me. But, technology is so immature, so you do something and debug and debug it again. So now I think after initial success, there were many different Claw implementations, same idea. And even OpenClaw was not a new idea. It was there was a combination of some tricks with the memory and agentic AI orchestrations that made so successful. So now many companies do similar Claws, and as you know, security was like the big one of key focuses. So that's why NVIDIA came with their Nemo Claw, or how you name it, more for B2B, for enterprise environment, running on their hardware, very secure way. But again, with the Claude, you can achieve almost the same right now, same level of orchestration. So I think I encourage everybody to try it. Again, it's a very democratized way. Distribution is much simpler now. One button deployment. You can talk to or chat with it through Skype, Discord, Telegram, your channel of preference, and experiment and grow. Give it more tools, more hands, and see how it can play a role in life. I don't expect it to be like a big thing in the enterprise world. There will be more enterprise-grade solutions, but this is actually a fun way to explore AI, agentic AI.
You see,
encourage.
in meantime, you have a Salesforce contact center, so it's like let's call it like Apple, which is always will be closed, you know, and we have another, you know, another solution, and it's like a more Linux, actually run by the community, and probably this solution also will run by the community. I remember I read somewhere, so there was a question: if Linus Torvalds die, what will happen? Actually, and he has actually he's trusted basically in the community. There are about 100 people actually who are going to run this community actually, so this is not no longer about Linus Torvalds anymore, and hopefully this solution also evolve, you know, and we have also open source solution for agentic voice as well, and so on.
Yeah, I mean it's obviously open source now, and there is a lot of distributions that are provided by different companies, like also NVIDIA, one of them. I'm not sure. I'm curious how actually migration between them happening, because everything is stored in these MD files. Everything is stored in text. You know, there is a Soul MD and other MD files. So when we go to these meetups, we share our Soul MD of our OpenClaw, and it's very fun to read what OpenClaw believes about itself, what it writes in its own Soul MD file. I think it grows. I remember when we started, I was starting looking into it, was like 50,000 stars on now it's hundreds and hundreds of thousands stars. So it's growing exponentially. It's like I saw they mentioning like the fastest growing technology, and a lot of good words about OpenClaw. In China, they have a special meetups guiding people to install it. So it's like installation meetup. So 100 people come, and more experienced people help them to install OpenClaw, because barrier of entry is still quite technical. It's not like for
the moment.
Yeah, so it's not easy. It's not like one button on your machine, because security is also there. Like there are many horror stories about people like losing money, deleting some important mails with OpenClaw if you give it too much of a freedom. So again, technology is great. I think announcement, how many times it was mentioned in GTC in a Jensen speech was also extraordinary. So that's again driving usage of technology produced by NVIDIA. So it's all about they drive the usage of technology.
Use cases, basically. They're looking for use cases. They built amazing hardware, which sometimes it's the only hardware actually there. So, but they are looking for business cases to sell to the client. So.
Yeah, and I think eventually it will move. It will be absorbed. Similar functionality will be absorbed by other providers like Anthropic. As I said, it's there if you want to build something for your work or something for a private. I don't know, you can build your health bot, or you can build your productivity improvement bot, or weather analytics bot, fashion bot, whatever important for you. You can start from that domain and leverage OpenClaw or similar technologies.
Last year, Yulia brought me some interesting use case. So I was riding my bicycle, and I was talking to actually, so it's chat
news assistant,
and wow, actually that was wow experience to me. Actually, comparing to just voice, I mean ChatGPT voice. So it's like you can talk any topic, and if you switch to other topic, it will glitch. We understand what's happening there on LLM side, but this was focusing only on news, and I surprised how precise it was. Asking about news in Belgium, tell me about this new, what's how it's rated, for example, in Ukrainian.
What did Trump do yesterday?
Yes, exactly.
Latest news.
Exactly, and I surprised, how like I'm riding my bicycle for 20 minutes, for example, and I know everything what is happening, and actually I'm trying to ask it in details, give me more information about it, give me source of that, who said this, and so on. Yeah, so I don't know what happened later to that solution, but to me that was opening my eyes.
You can eventually talk to everything. Eventually you can talk to every site, every platform, you can talk to whatever. That's where we are heading. It could be through phone, but then you need all the phone technology, some kind of operator involved, phone system involved, or you can just talk to internet sites. There are technology like WebRTC, for example, when you can talk actually to any internet page. So yeah, I think, but as you said, maybe rather than the bicycle, it was the perfect solution because you have time and you have enough cognitive space to talk to it.
Yes.
Maybe for some environments, like now, we already talk.
Yeah.
Voice AI it's complementary. We need to think how to embed it. Maybe it can be forced participant next time. But maybe for this environment, some other way to communicate into AI, like text, and is better way. So it will find a way in our life, I think.
Maybe it's a good idea next time we get an extra participant, an AI participant.
Very clever participant. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so we have just a few minutes left for today. Anything else that you would like to bring up for a conclusion? I think we covered quite some fun variety of topics.
Yeah, I think I'm just looking through all the themes we planned for today. Yes, pretty much we covered everything. Probably, I don't know, ethics. Let's call about ethics a bit of using this technology.
Well, for me, it's easy as long as I'm in Europe and I have an announcement that I'm going to talk to an AI. That's very useful. Otherwise, I can imagine there can be some scams, right, with the voice. Maybe that sounds trustworthy or just familiar to you, right? But in Europe, I feel quite
if there
safe.
is somehow to watermark the speech, for example, to recognize if there is, I'm talking to AI, because you heard the stories probably that agents, they come into the interview, for example, and talking to, to the recruit. If there is any way to identify, actually, it's like what's a Turing test. So there is another site, there is a artificial intelligence.
I think that this battle is ongoing. It will never end. Of course, there are bad actors. In Europe, even though you're protected by laws, there are bad actors who try to exploit technology in their own need. Unfortunately, and people trust voice a lot. As you say, now we can clone a voice in 3 seconds. So you call me, you say a couple of words, and in return receive a cloned voice. You can talk to yourself.
Yes.
So you call me, and you can talk to. I try to set up this demo when I call you, and then I get your voice, and then I call you back with your own voice. Try to convince you that I'm you.
Yes.
Imagine this scenario.
That sounds
So
fun.
really, there is a challenge that is ahead of us, and technology is evolving. There are companies who work on detection of cloned voice and digital voice. There are like about spacing, about words used. There are many ways, and there are like bots that joined calls to listen again by operators developed to analyze is it a digital voice or a real human. So there is a ways to find it, but in return, companies who do voice AI will do something different to hide. So it will be always a battle, always a debate. But there is a lot of companies who are doing it. There are companies in France who are doing this. There are companies in GTC who are presenting this technology, how they identify and how they build like targeted or how they tune LLMs to identify it. So there is space to watch, but never feel safe. And one advice could be in your family, in your friends, it's time to decide on a special keyword or key question that you ask to prove that the person on the other side is a trustworthy person. So you ask a question, and maybe in return you give an answer which is not expected. What is your favorite dish? My favorite dish is moon. AI will never answer in this way. We never guess it. It can collect all information in the world about you, but will never guess this answer. But maybe AI can guess real answer if it has your Instagram and knowledge about you. So having this key question and answer within your close group with the family, it's a good way to protect against such things.
Like a keyword for the bank, if you open the bank account, what's a keyword? Keyword, actually, yes.
So especially maybe is you can be targeted by these individuals if your position is like there's a lot of scams going to senior individuals in the corporate, and these companies try to protect the senior individuals versus scammers and bad actors. So this kind of one of things that we advise to do.
So, I think pretty much covered everything for today. So, always welcome to hear Yuri again.
Pace of innovation, like in 3 months we will have another list of topics to talk.
That's for sure, and with an agent on the side.
We will build something. Let's build something. Next time we build it and see how it will respond. How many tokens will it burn in 1 hour?
True.
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys.
Yes.
Yeah, and thanks for watching.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.